Hello and welcome to the Power BI March 2022 update. In this video, we'll explore what's new this month and see some demos of the highlights. We have some exciting new updates for you in the reporting section. First, we would like to let you know that we will be making the new Format Pane generally available in May and transitioning all users to the new experience in the May release. The new Format Pane has been in preview since November of last year and was turned on by default in last month's release. In May, users will no longer be able to switch back to the old Format Pane. If you encounter any issues before we GA, please submit your feedback directly in the comments of this blog post or add to the discussion via the shared feedback link next to the preview feature item in the options menu. We'll continue to capture any feedback you have as we move toward general availability. Next, you can now add error bars to your line charts to visualize uncertainty in your data. Uncertainty is an important aspect to data, especially in scientific disciplines and other fields, where the value of a data point actually represents a distribution of possible values. With this new feature, you can specify upper and lower bounds to the values on your line chart and customize the way that uncertainty is visualized on your chart. Rian will show us a demo of this feature.
One of the awesome new features we have for you this month is error bars. A lot of data is used for the purposes of prediction. Given so-and-so parameters, what outcomes can we expect? And for that, the data we record isn't always 100% certain. You'll find a lot of statistics which use a 95% confidence interval, for example, where an outcome is expected to fall inside the bounds of that interval 95% of the time. And so in that sense, the confidence interval is as or even more important than the single value of a data point, which might represent the average across many samples. So the new feature, error bars, it helps you visualize these bounds in a few intuitive ways. Let's take a look. So starting with this line chart, this comes from this whole report comes from public data from a study about Alzheimer's disease. And this chart shows cognitive performance as a function of age, where each point is the average of the scores of study participants. So for example, someone at 85 years old who is a carrier scores on average 2.78 of this specific gene, and non-carriers score an average of 2.39. Now, someone who is 85 who takes the cognitive performance test again may score a 3.0. If they're very exceptional, they might even score a 3.5. Non-carriers might still score a 2.0. What's important here is the range within which we can expect their scores to fall, not the average score necessarily of carriers and non-carriers. So error bars is introduced as a feature to help enable that scenario where now we can visualize that range. So first of all, make sure that error bars is enabled as a preview feature. Find that in the options menu, preview features, and then just turn it on. Here, let's go into the analytics pane, where we'll find the error bars card, go down, and open it up. We only have one measure here, which is the cognitive performance score. But if we had multiple measures, instead of dividing it by a series in the legend, then we would be able to change the measure that we want to apply these error bars to up in the Apply Settings to option. Next, we're going to enable error bars and then drag some fields in. So I have a lower bound for my confidence interval here and an upper bound here. And as you can see, now we have a lot of upper and lower bounds displayed as these little bars with handles at the top and the bottom. And if we wanted, we could change this relationship to measure from absolute to relative. And fortunately, this data is in absolute terms. So that means that my field under 95 says the upper bound is 4.09 and the lower bound is 2.6. But if instead it said, plus minus 0.75, then the relationship to measure could be relative instead, and it would still display the same thing. You would have something go plus positive 0.75 over the value of the average, and then negative 0.75 below the value of the average. So this is a convenience for you. If your fields say, positive 0.75, positive 0.8, then you can use relative relationship to measure. If it's the absolute terms, it says the upper bound is 4.09 here, then you can use an absolute relationship to measure. And so this is just a convenience for setting up your data. And as you can see, the bar is styled as such. It has a thin 1 pixel white border by default, so that if you have any background color to your visual, the error bars will still have some amount of contrast against that background color. Aside from that, you can change the end style. Let's say we didn't like this little handlebar cap and we change it to a dot instead. That works. None also works. I like the cap, so I'm going to leave it that way. You can affect the color, the transparency, and the width of the bars. So it's all pretty straightforward in terms of styling the bars. Let's try a different style instead. I'm going to turn off the bars and instead turn on the line and shade area. So the line just makes a little line outside the edge of where that error interval lies, and the shade area does the same thing, except it fills in the boundaries of the line. So now we have a cool looking confidence band. Here you can see a few of the options that we have to format them. Line style, we can change it from solid to dashed or dotted. We can affect the width and transparency. Right now, the series color is matched, so that means that the blue series also has a blue area. If we didn't want to match it, we could do that, and it would change the color of the line to something static. All straightforward, simple enough. Same thing down here. Series, the shade area, you can match the series color. Right now it's blue and purple. If we turned it off, now it's a consistent color. And we could change that color if we wanted. I like it matching, so I'm going to leave it this way. Transparency seems fine to me. It shows the confidence band without distracting from the points, so I'll leave it as is. Markers turns on markers similar to data markers on your lines themselves on every point of the confidence interval. So that's pretty straightforward. You'll get the normal marker formatting options, shape, size, the same match series color as you see above. And then lastly, let's talk about the tooltip behavior. So when I hover my mouse over a data point, it'll show the closest upper and lower bounds for wherever I'm hovering my mouse. So for example, here at, let's say, an age of 97, I'm hovering my mouse above carriers, it'll show me carriers. If I hover my mouse over the non-carriers, then the upper and lower bounds being displayed in the tooltip will be the confidence interval for non-carriers. The reason we have it this way is, suppose not that you have 2 series, but that you have 10, 20 series. All of them have their own confidence intervals. All of them have their own error bars. All of a sudden, the tooltip would get very, very clogged up. It would be massive if we decided to show the error information for every single one of them. If the points are close enough, we'll show you the closest ones. So you don't have to be super precise with where you hover your mouse. But the goal of this was to make it clear without overwhelming you with information what the error information of the specific point that you're interested in is. So that's the tooltip. And if you wanted, instead of labeling it absolute, you could also label it relative numeric, which would show you, positive and negative. This is 0.51 above and minus 0.51 below, or percentage, where it'll show you the, plus 5%, minus 20%, or plus 27% here and minus 28% in terms of where that error lies above and below the actual value of your point. So I'm going to leave it as absolute, but I can see certainly use cases where you would rather see it as percentages or as plus minus values. And that's the feature. We plan to bring this feature to the clustered column charts, bar charts, and combo charts in future releases, and maybe introduce some new formatting options along with them. Right now, it is line chart only, so try it out here. Let us know what you think, and we'll keep working to make this functionality the best it can be in the future. Thank you for watching, and let us know what you think.
To try out this exciting new feature, turn on the error bars option in the Preview Features section of the Options menu. Next, we're happy to announce that dynamic format strings are now supported for all chart elements. Reports with AS data sources can provide dynamic format strings or cell-level formatting to customize the formatting of their data. Reports with calculation groups will also convert regular format strings into dynamic format strings. We've received feedback over time that these dynamic format strings were applying inconsistently across a number of different visuals, including the gauge visual and some cases of categorical bar charts. We know that this inconsistency may affect decisions around report design, and we're highlighting here that after the numerous changes we made last month, categorical visuals should all support dynamic format strings. Next, we've made some exciting new updates to the Azure Map visual. This month, we've added 2 powerful new capabilities, geocoding and pie chart layers. To try them out, make sure you've enabled the Azure Map visual in the Preview Features section of the Options menu. Geocoding is the translation of the names of locations into coordinates that you can plot on a map. Whereas before, we required that you provided latitude and longitude, now you can use country or region, state or province, city, county, postal code, and address data to plot points on your map, as well as by dragging fields into the location field well. As with our map and field map visuals, you can also drill down on multiple fields. You can also now turn your bubble layers into pie charts to visualize the proportions of your data at each location along a category field, allowing you to partition the data in your bubble layers across a new dimension. Rien will show us a demo of these 2 improvements.
This month, we've added 2 new features to the Azure Maps visual: geocoding and pie chart layers. Let's start with geocoding. Most users work with data that has geographic information, and most of that geographic information is not stored in latitude-longitude format. Maybe it's specific addresses. Maybe it's just zip codes, or cities or countries. Whatever it was, if it wasn't specific latitude-longitude coordinates, you couldn't put it in the Azure Map visual until this release. Now, if you drag your fields into the location field well, Azure Maps will do that geocoding for you. So it'll interpret your geographic data, the names, city, country, turn those into lat-long coordinates that it can actually put onto a map, and then put them onto the map. The locations field well also supports drilling. So if you put multiple fields into it, you can also drill up and down the hierarchy. Here, let's say I have my profits, sure, and that's in my bubble size, not in my latitude. And instead of putting stuff into my latitude, longitude, now I have this new location field well. So I'm going to put the city into my location field well. And now Azure Maps will plot that data against all these different cities. Suppose I have some countries and some states to do that. Let me reorganize this hierarchy for a moment. And now, if I wanted, I'm on country and state. And if I wanted to go even more granular, I have country, state, and now I have profits along cities. So as you can see, I can drill up and down as I wish to get data in different levels of granularity across country, state, city. So we know a lot of users were blocked on using the visual at all due to not having geocoding. So we're really excited to be bringing that to you this month. We've also added pie chart layers to the visual. So we can put in a measure to get the bubble layer by size. That's what we have right now. But maybe we have another dimension to consider. Maybe like some category that we're trying to get the distribution for across each location. Here I've got, category ID. So now you can turn these bubble layers into pie charts in order to visualize these proportions. So here, again, I've got profits for each location, but I'm interested in knowing which type of product is selling the best and where it's selling the best. And so I can throw in a category field like this category ID into the legend field well. And it'll show me what portion of my sales each category is taking up. The very informative names for me, 1, 2, 3, you get you get a different pie chart across each location that shows you here 1 is massively dominating sales, whereas here 2 is massively dominating sales. And it gives you another way to slice up your data on the map. Those are the 2 features we introduced this month. Let us know what you think about them. We're really excited to be bringing them to you, and we hope they make the Azure Map visual a lot more accessible and a lot more powerful for you moving forward.
We've also made an update to sensitivity labels, removing the 2 GB file size limitation on saving labeled and protected PBIX files. Now, even larger PBIX files can be saved with a sensitivity label that carries protection. Finally, last month we announced that you can now select rows in your multi-row card to cross-highlight and cross-filter other visuals in your report. Due to unforeseen circumstances, this feature did not ship with the last release, and it is now available with the March release. We thank you for your patience and your feedback in bringing this issue to our attention. Next, in the Data Connectivity and Preparation section, we have several new and updated connectors for you this month. First, we're excited to introduce the BitSight Security Ratings connector. BitSight is a security ratings provider surfacing rich data on the cybersecurity performance of companies. BitSight for Security Performance Management enables CISOs to measure, monitor, manage, and report on their cybersecurity program performance over time, and to facilitate a universal understanding of cyber risk across their organization. The connector helps you pull BitSight data into Power BI for further analysis and dashboard creation, and leverage the information for reporting and tracking. Next, we've also updated the Bloomberg Enterprise Data and Analytics connector, the Anaplan connector, the FactSet Analytics connector, and the Assemble Views connector. For more information on all of their new behaviors and bug fixes, check out the monthly release blog post linked in the video description below. Next, we have a variety of new features for you in the Service section. First, we've made some great new improvements to the Datasets hub this month. The Datasets hub shows you all the datasets that you have access to, as well as any endorsed datasets that have been set as discoverable so that you can find them and request access. We've made some changes to the Datasets hub tabs, introducing a new Trusted in Your Org tag, which focuses exclusively on the endorsed datasets your organization trusts the most. When you select the Trusted in Your Org tab, you'll see a list of all of the endorsed datasets in your organization, with certified datasets listed first, then promoted datasets. Next, we've also introduced some exciting updates to Power BI goals. First, we're releasing custom statuses for goals. Statuses are an integral part of goal tracking, and with this update, you can customize your statuses so that they're perfect for your organization. In edit mode, simply click the settings gear and enter the section called Statuses to customize what you can add to your scorecard. You'll be able to create new statuses, rename existing ones, and customize the color. Using the terminology you use every day in your organization will ensure everyone in your team easily understands your scorecards, helping goals integrate seamlessly into your reporting. We've also released a few new Teams notifications to help you stay up to date about the goals you're responsible for. Goal update notifications are sent when a goal is updated. The goal owners receive a Teams notification from the user updating the goal as long as they have the Power BI app for Teams installed. They'll get a notification right in the activity feed and as a banner, and when they click the notification, the scorecard will open and the details pane for the goal will be shown. This notification will be sent on any manual updates to the goal, such as changes to goal name, start or due date, adding or removing owners, and adding or changing status rules. Goal owners will also receive a new check-in notification when a user adds a new check-in or edits an existing check-in. This notification will be sent when a value or status is either added or edited directly on the goal, or through the check-in experience in the Details pane. Next, we have a couple of updates for you in the Embedded Analytics section. First, we're introducing a new and improved method for deploying Power BI embedded multi-tenant solutions at scale. Up until now, ISVs and the Power BI embedded app owners were able to deploy the embedded solution to production either by creating one service principal across all of their customer tenants or by creating multiple service principals, one for each customer tenant. Now we're happy to introduce a new method that allows a much larger number of customer tenants per service principal using the service principal profile. Each service principal profile can administer a customer tenant, and the number of profiles per service principal can reach the hundreds of thousands. Each service principal profile can administer a customer tenant, and the number of profiles per service principal can reach the hundreds of thousands. Service principal profiles allow ISVs to build a scalable application that enables better customer data isolation and enables tighter security boundaries between customers. With service principal profiles, ISV applications can now host multiple customers on a single Power BI tenant. Each profile represents one customer in Power BI, managing datasets, reports, dashboards, and other artifacts connected only to that specific customer's data. We've also added support for data sources that require single sign-on for embedding paginated reports, expanding the range of data sources our embedded paginated reports serve. Next, we have some exciting new updates for you in the visualization section. First, new visuals available for you on AppSource this month are the Event View visual, the Power Slicer visual, the Dual Axis Line Chart with legends, the Stacked Column Chart with custom legend placement, the Bullet Chart with custom label placement, the Cluster Bar Chart side by side, the Stacked Bar Chart with data label and data percentage, the Bar Chart with custom tooltip, the Pie Chart with full legends label, the Column Chart with two X-axes, the side-by-side bar chart, the column chart with dual y-axes, the multiple vertical line chart, the bar chart with color formatting, the bar chart color formatting based on legend, the area chart with custom tooltip, the bubble chart with categorical X and Y axes, the filter by list visual, and the custom tooltip for line and clustered column chart. Updated visuals include the Charticulator visual, which is now Microsoft certified, the Drill Down Donut Pro visual by Zoom Charts, the Graphimate Matrix visual by Graphimate, the Strip Plot by Nova Silver, and the Acco Planning visual by Acrobat. You can find all of these visuals on AppSource. For more information, check out their links in the video description below. Lastly, we've introduced a new capability to quickly create reports from SharePoint document libraries. Previously, we launched an integration in SharePoint lists that allows you to create a Power BI report using list data with only a few clicks. Now that same capability is available on SharePoint document libraries. This will let you easily explore your file metadata, such as how frequently files are modified, who makes the same modifications, and so on. Currently, this option is only available at the parent or root folder of the document libraries and will not pull metadata for files within folders. We plan to lift those restrictions in a future update. And that's all we have for this month. As always, we hope you enjoy the updates, and please keep sending us feedback on what you'd like to see in the upcoming releases. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next month.